What's up, world? Big Rick on the mic. How's everybody doing today? So, last video I talked about just like being homeless and things like that, and it's an option right now. One of the things that I feel like I could save a lot of money doing is not having a place to stay, not having to pay rent, and having a job that pays me pretty well that I can make it to. Hopefully, I can find a gym that's 24 hours close to it, but especially in these times, that's going to be very difficult because all the gyms are closed. They're not considered essential. So the hardest part would be either just be known as the stinky guy, find a place to take a shower, or, you know, but to have, anyways, I digress. Got off track. Being homeless would be a way to save some money. I have to get out of debt. I have an insurmountable amount of debt. Not insurmountable. Nothing's insurmountable. But my priorities aren't right. I should have been out at least way close to being out of debt probably 3 years ago. But spent all my time eating. I've eaten away like I've paid off my credit cards multiple times and then ate them back to their limits. And they're small limits. Like I have one credit card with a $525 limit and the other credit card with a $300 limit. So $825, and it's almost impossible. It takes me a year to pay that off. Why? Because I'm buying stuff that isn't in budget. I'm frivolously spending. What you should do with your credit card is take all of your monthly bills, the stuff that you pay regularly, and pay them with your credit card. Then then just pay it off every single month. But no, I'm over here buying stuff that I don't ever buy just so I can have it. A very consumerist mentality, a victim's mentality, a poverty mindset. And because a wealthy mindset is one who buys assets that make him money in the long haul, or that use your credit card to run a business that is bringing in income, things like that. And I didn't. And I never learned how to. I grew up in a single mother household. My mom did everything for me. She loved me, she nurtured me, she took care of me, but she also sheltered my mind, my body, and my spirit. My whole entire schooling career, my mom was like, "You're going to college." And I didn't know why she forced it so hard. And I think the reason is because she didn't finish college. And I followed suit. After being in college for 3 years, I dropped out, flunked out actually, just stopped going to class because our life got really difficult. And it had been for most of my life. We moved. I remember being younger when I was like 4 years old. We lived in Houston, right? Or no, we lived here. I was born in Houston. We lived here. Or we moved to where I live now. And then I think after about a year, we moved back to Houston. Stayed there until I was 8. So 4 years, and then moved back up where I am now. And from there, we moved so much, so often, so many times. Like it started where, from what I remember, we would have an apartment for a little bit, then we would move, we would be settled. But then when we moved from Houston up here, we had nothing. I remember my mom was staying with her cousin, and then we all went to Florida, and one of my mom's cousin's friends that we stayed with, he showed me a magic trick, and it was pretty neat, and it taught me the mechanics of it worked, and I've never forgotten that trick to this day. That's neither here nor there. But and we moved, and we drove my mom's cousin's car from Florida, Pensacola, Florida, to Houston. I'm 8 years old, and I remember from Houston to where I live now. And I remember my mom was like we parked the car in the back of these apartments, and we walked over to what was the night shelter. Excuse me. Night shelter was a very interesting time in life. I was 9 years old. This happened like right after right before my ninth birthday. Third grade, going into fourth grade. Before that, I was at one. I went to an elementary school. I went to 4 different elementary schools, or 3 different elementary schools. From kindergarten, I was at one school. First grade, I was at a different school. Second and third grade, I was at the same school. Then we moved down here, and the only consistency that I could find here was my friends. I went to Swift Elementary. At this point, I'm living in, or it's still summer. I'm getting all over the place. It's still summer. We just got here. We go to the night shelter. You have to be under 7 years and under to be on the female side. So, because I was 8, I had to go to the male side with all the grown men. Luckily for my mom, and that she's not afraid, she had people watch over me, because that is a very sketchy place for a child to be amongst a bunch of grown men. You never know who could do what to that child. But we made it, and then after a couple weeks at the night shelter, my mom was upset the fact that she couldn't see me, she couldn't say goodnight to me, she couldn't kiss me, she couldn't be next to me, because literally is all we had. It was just me, my mom, and my sister. My little sister's 6 years younger than me. She was 2 years old. So we moved to the Salvation Army. We walked. I'll never forget it. We walked. It was the midsummer. We walked about 2 miles. And I remember my mom. Oh no, we didn't walk. My mom, when she got here, she got a job. She's a nurse, and she got a car. But we did walk to the Salvation Army and got that car while we were at the Salvation Army. And that was an awesome time. We met some great people of which I will make videos detailing that. But as I unpack this real story, I think I will find myself. I will find who I truly am in the midst of all of this, and not be ashamed of that person. And the fact that not going to college does not make me, and it does not prove my level of intellect. And it's the craziest thing. Is one of the things that has always been told to me my whole entire life, still to this day, the smartest person I've ever seen, the smartest person I've ever met. And I hold very strongly to that, because there's so many different types of intellects, and I always thought, just because I can not break down, but fundamentally explain the psychological processes of the human mind, that made me considerably smarter. And no, I understand them in depth. It's almost a visceral understanding. I don't need the books to tell me. Can I go on a spiel in where it sounds scientific? Probably not. But when I change my vocal intonation, when I change the looks and the shape of my eyes as I speak, when I watch the way that I carry myself on a day-to-day basis, I realize how much power and how much strength and how much knowledge I really have, and how much I understand people and human nature and culture. These things. And part of me feels like a con artist. And the craziest part is I learned that from my mom. And I don't want to be a con artist. So I'll leave you here from my life. It's small. My formative years were spent in kind of a little turmoil. But I will continue the story from my first year in fourth grade, meeting my friends.